said at the time the agreement was working. Iran was living up to that agreement. And they didn't get the full sanctions relief. And then the president pulls out, and they decided, okay, how do we defend ourselves? Now, I'm not supportive of any of the choices that Iran has made. They've been, worse than mischievous within the region, and have caused a lot of suspicion and doubts about their longer intent here. Mm-hmm. But good diplomacy now has to take the lead. Mm-hmm. And the president, I hope, will exercise restraint and take the higher road in order to try to get back to that table, which is so critical. So you cannot stop this process. I mean, where is the material that was in Fordow? Where as I said, you cannot bomb away the memory and the established procedures that they have now learned. They've mastered the nuclear cycle. They know how to make a bomb. The only issue is, will they find some way now to feel compelled to do that? Or will they want to join the community of nations and begin to come to a commerce place and reach some kind of an accord? Mm-hmm. And as I say, that's going to be very difficult.
So the deputy foreign minister, who you probably also know, might have been part of the JCPOA negotiating team, Ravanchi, said to me that
he was the deputy at that time.
Yeah, they wanted to continue.
I know him quite well from that.
Even now, since the American bombing, he has said that they will not pull out of the NPT. That was a fear, that they would pull out of this, observing role by the NPT and then go even further dark and further underground. But to your point about the intelligence and this is crucial because it's all those years ago, this happened in Iraq. And Trump actually said, in his 2016 campaign, Iraq was a big fat mistake. Those are his quotes. And he accused the, government of lying about intelligence. And as we know, there were no weapons of mass destruction. So he was very clear that he opposed that. Now we're having another debate on the intelligence about weapons of mass destruction, which is, as you've said and the intelligence says, Iran does not have. But here is what Secretary Rubio said on the Sunday morning show when asked about the intelligence, which is also U.S. intelligence. Here's what he said.
Let me follow up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked on the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build
point
a
in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not been made.
I know that better than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons.
I mean, I've got deja vu all over again. This is precisely the argument that was made as a justification for the war in Iraq, which turned out to be a disaster for the United States and for the region. So are you concerned that your successor, Secretary Rubio, believes that any intelligence is irrelevant? This intelligence, anyway.
I think it's a bigger question than that, frankly. The decision, to the best of our knowledge in the intel community, had not been made, but he is absolutely correct. They have the materials they need.
Right.
And there was a rather alarming report by the IAEA to the effect that they had about 60% level of enrichment, and they have increased the level, of their amount of enrichable material available to be able to make a bomb. So, that creates a cause for worry. It doesn't necessarily create a casus belli, as we know, where you automatically go in. You can show at the table, this is what we know, this is what you're doing. I mean, this is how we negotiated with them for.
Madam ji.
This is News 18 Network.
To the destruction of Israel. That's a cultural, almost religious component of their policy. And so it's very hard to say what exactly is going to bring them back.
This is the response, or this is the beginning of a response? Because we're now, we just got word there was 10 missiles fired toward Qatar.
Pulled out. President Trump, in his first term, pulled out of that deal. So this is what we're getting from a former nuclear negotiator who basically said about the negotiations that then were interrupted by Israel's first bombing round about 10 days ago. So this negotiator says that they had agreed, both the Iranians and